Hi, I wanted to share a quick testimony with you as an encouragement and edification of the body of Christ. I have been unemployed since November of 2014, moved here in Washington at that time, and have been seeking employment ever since then. Getting a job has never been a problem for me. I have always been employed. It's just kind of come easy to me. So this period of unemployment was a real blow to not only my ego, but my pride and my sense of self-worth. That put me on a journey that has led me to the most amazing place, and I wanted to share the testimony about that with you. I had tried to seek a job on my own and, of course, prayed about it, but really, I believe in retrospect, there was a lot of my flesh that looked at, yeah, I could do this. I can do this. And that wasn't what God wanted. But I wasn't willing to see that. So I met at one point with Pastor Brad and Bethany, and they really prayed with me and encouraged me, helped me to understand my perspective needed some adjustment. But I knew that there was still this thing that I kept bumping up against in my life that was holding me back. And I knew it was there. There was no doubt about it. So um, when Breakthrough came along, I signed up for it, was very excited, and had high hopes, wasn't disappointed. The Breakthrough itself, the concept has been fantastic, and I have enjoyed it so much. And praying for my brothers and sisters and letting God take that has been fun and full of blessings. They talked about life to life sessions, however, this new prayer ministry that they were rolling out, that I something inside me knew, yep, that's it, that's what you're looking for. And so I signed up right away. Went for my session with the members of that team, and what happened next is really what I want to share. So I went in with a preconceived idea that this would be something that I would ask specific prayer for, that I was going to be the one saying, well, it should be this or that. And really, it was all about what God wanted to say. It was about what God wanted to say to me specifically. And it, it was fantastic. From the moment that the first person started to talk, it took just a few seconds before she mentioned a vision and a component of that vision about seeing me as a little girl with my hands touching wheat, walking along a path and running my hands along wheat. My heart just jumped for joy because there's no greater satisfaction that I could get from this life than to be a part of God's harvest, to be present, or to even be able to touch those grains of wheat. It just instantly filled me with the most amazing amount of joy. And the next person shared a vision of me as a tall sunflower with seeds coming out of my mouth and spreading those seeds. And then he said something that really got my attention. He said, God knows you have a heart for orphans. And this is something that nobody could have known. I haven't shared that with anybody here in Washington. It had to have been God. And that got my attention because I have a real history with orphans, those who aren't wanted. My house has been filled with them. I've had people come and live with me from anywhere from 3 months to a year, and it's just been a rich part of my heart. So now I knew not only was I filled with joy, but this was God talking to me. So I was quite anxious to hear everything that was going to come next. Other folks shared their visions that God wanted to break my chains and set me free, which of course was ultimately my hope as well. Uh, and then we started to talk about what was in the way, what was in the path that kept me from that. And I was surprised. I did not realize that I had been keeping something inside of me as a sort of a secret sin that I never really felt worthy of God. I had always known it in my head. I'm able to believe it with all of my heart for other people, but there was this tiny voice inside of me. Okay, maybe not so tiny, that said, he sees everybody else and he loves everybody else, but you're maybe not quite so important to him. And wow, did that get dispelled for me? That I realize that's a trial for a lot of us. That is something that many people struggle with. But God wanted to set me free that day. And when I was able to see that by not accepting his love for me and his promises for me, that I was sinning against him, well, that was the sweetest conviction of all, because easy to do something about it when you can see what it really is. So I was really able to give that over, give it up, come against that spirit that wanted to keep me down, that wanted to keep me from believing that God loved me. He knows me, my name. He knows my heart. And that was such a revelation that um, I always heard other people, there's those really good people out there that they get to experience that, but I had never owned it. And there were a few things that happened instantly. For me, the phrase, who the Son has set free, he is free indeed, had meaning for me. I really began to feel God's love and presence in my life, and the sheer power that came from that, to really believe that the King of the universe, the Lord of Lords, was pleased with me, um, really has made a huge difference. It has opened my eyes to where this sin was a little bit more widespread than I had realized. Uh, it meant that there was a part of me that held back on his promises and believed that he wasn't really going to be able to fill all of those promises. I mean, that's a tall order, right? Um, but the joy, the sheer joy that has come since that day has been unbelievable. And indeed, God did break my chains. Um, I have had something happening in the job arena since that day. There's been something new that has happened every single day since then, and I'm excited because now I have removed the God has removed the obstacle in my path to allow me to see and accept what He has in store for me, and to receive that gift as He would like to give it to me. If I had gained a job before this, I believe that my flesh would have really accepted it as having done it in my own ability, and God was my co pilot. So I am deeply grateful for God's perfect timing. I am grateful for the lesson in my life that I hope I never lose track of. And I am deeply and profoundly grateful to the people who are carrying out this ministry, who are being obedient to God, who are listening and being His vehicle for communicating these things to the body. It is life changing. For me, it has been freeing and full of joy, and the abundant blessings. Those orphans have started to come back into my life now. I've already had two folks from my